How in the name of Hell's Kitchen does this show just keep getting so much better and better and better? Hello, welcome back to the James Ramlin Reviews for yet another episode. In today's episode, I'm going to be giving you a spoiler heavy, to an extent, review discussion based video on Daredevil Season 2 2016, as I actually finished the last episode a couple hours ago. You may be thinking to yourself, why didn't you give yourself another day to process it? Well, I spent the past whopping about 4 or 5 days watching this, binge watching it, with the time that I had during the day and stuff like that, and, I've got to say that I just really did enjoy the season. I'll explain everything when I get there and all that, but just so you understand as a recap, and I will link the video down below, but I actually decided to rewatch Daredevil from the beginning, as Daredevil Born Again's coming out and stuff like that. Right now, there's about 4 episodes out, so I was like, you know what? I've not seen the show in a while. I need to watch it again. The first season is an absolute masterpiece, just absolute great television, and so there's definitely all of that, and we'll link that video down below and stuff like that. So, what is season two about? So, season two is pretty much a continuation of Matt Murdock's journey in Hell's Kitchen. But this time, my friends, we have got some absolute interesting stuff here where you've got like the Punisher and Elektra, and you do have Wilson Fisk in this season, but it's different. They find a way to spice it up. You still have a 13 episode run here of 13 episodes where you've got an hour each. But honestly, like I said last time, and honestly with this season, the episodes did not feel like an hour. It felt like 30 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 5 minutes long. They did not feel that long. So there's definitely all of that. So let me get into how I felt about the season of television. So, with my honest thoughts into explaining the ins and outs, so I will say that the first 4 episodes is really, really gripping, really, really engaging because you're so invested in this ideological battle between the Punisher and Daredevil, where Daredevil is trying to tell him, oh, these things you're doing is horrible, or you shouldn't be killing all these people. But then the Punisher has his own perspective, his own ideology. He's like, no, one shot, one kill has his kind of ideology here. So he's like, oh no, I don't care about what you think, Daredevil. And then you go from this, or this kind of thing, to episode 5 till about, the rest of the season where this show starts to go from, the whole Punisher thing and this whole thing about Elektra and how Elektra is pretty much Daredevil's like, love interest from a long time ago that comes back into his life. It's a very, very complicated love relationship he's got because obviously, if you watch the show, right, you knew that Daredevil had something for, Karen, and he was kind of had a thing for her. So then you had this other girl, Elektra, that was in his life before her, and you're just like, oh, this could get spicy, this could get interesting. And so definitely, I will be honest into saying that the Elektra storyline is very, very rough to begin with. You're kind of just thrown into the deep end, not really knowing what's going on, and then as you start to see what happens later on, it becomes more clear what they were going for and what they were trying to do. And as always, just the pacing, the acting, all of it is great. But yeah, the Alexa storyline just wasn't my thing. And the reason I'll explain this as a spoiler reason is because of the things she does with Daredevil. There's literally a whole episode here where Daredevil and her are just smashing glass bottles in this like big, big, fancy place, and this guy is tied to a chair, and you're just like, what the hell? Why is this necessary? And then there'll be like another episode where Elektra will drive this fast like red car, and she's like, "Get in my car, baby. We gotta do some more action." And it's like, why is this in a very, very grounded, serious show? So there's things like that where you're like, don't know about that, don't know about that. But then but then there's also this thing where the Punisher's storyline builds upon itself, where you get to know about how the one shot one kill thing was happening, right? But then they start to show humanity with the character as, Karen Page, the lawyer kind of character in here, the character that turns into a lawyer, sorry. She kind of, breaks down his backstory. She has a discussion with him in a cafe or like a restaurant sort of thing. And even when he's in like this room as well, just to understand his perspective. And it's just all really played out well as you start to feel bad for the Punisher because because he's not really that bad of a guy because they show humanity and he just isn't that bad at all because what he is doing is he's actually helping he eventually ends up helping Daredevil conquer these bad guys. And there's like ninjas in this, and there's like they bring back Nobu from season one and that kind of stuff. So there's a lot more going on in this season, and that's what I feel like is the problem with season two, is that it doesn't really find that essential drive to be like, oh yeah, let's tell a simple, straightforward story. Let's get to the point. It tries to meander around everything, but it still is a lot better than other TV shows where they milk the hell out of a concept and then it drags on and there's filler arcs and all that. It's nothing like that. It still finds a way to be enjoyable, entertaining, have good acting. So there's all of that. I still have to talk about some more of this though, as the stuff they do with Wilson Fisk in this season is absolute peak. Because what they do is they give him this reason, and obviously he's not really in this season that much, but they give him a actual purpose in this season where in about episode 9 you get to see him again in this prison, how he runs this prison, and then the battles with the Daredevil that he has, bro, it is absolutely amazing stuff to see. And then how Fisk and the Punisher get to like interact, and you get to feel the different contrast with it. It is just awesome, and especially with Vincent D'Onofrio's performance when he's in that interaction with Daredevil, right? And they're having this interaction. He's talking about things, and then like when Fisk is saying something about how good it feels to get people to feel pain. He's like, absolutely refreshing, and you're just like, yes, this is actually how he would feel because of the cold performance he delivers. It is just awesome stuff. So, with all of that to be considered, with a lot of explaining to have been done here, this season of TV is a 9, just a 9 out of 10, I would say. It's not going to match the original season because could it really do that? That was my expectation going in. You're just like, you don't need to expect it to beat the original season, but to carry it on to see if it holds up. Yeah, definitely, this does hold up. It has some, meandering and things along the way. You're just like, I don't know if this is going to work, but it's still enjoyable. The action is awesome. The really grounded in reality storytelling, how serious it is, how deep it is, how interesting it is, and how you want to binge more and find out what happens next. All of that still remains. So there's definitely that. That's my review of season 2 of Daredevil. So stay tuned. Stay tuned indeed, because I'm going to be reviewing the Defenders in season 3 as well, because the Defenders actually takes place right after season 2, I hear. So I'll be watching that maybe starting tomorrow. And so definitely we're going to be continuing this, but there is some other stuff I want to review in between this. I just think it's kind of fun to change the pace up here. So yeah, that is my review of Daredevil Season 2. This is part 2, yes. This is our second video on this entire little kind of franchise, little series, if you want to call it that. So yeah, bye. We're definitely not going to be leaving Hell's Kitchen for a little while yet.